This is Dr. Quinlan with Quinlan Chiropractic Clinic from Coppell, Texas, and you're listening to the Dunham Business Radio Show.
This is Lori Dunham with Dunham Business Radio. We won the 2019 Gray Bowl Show of the Year. We also got an award for community service, and I can't thank you enough for all of your support. We are on the next level, and we're going higher, and I can't do it without you, and I'm so grateful. Thank you so much, and stay tuned in.
Live from Arlington, Texas, it's the Dunham Business Radio Show. And here's your host, Lori Dunham.
I am so happy that you're here. Thank you so much for tuning in. Your support has just been amazing. You know, our following has gone up almost 300%. And I just can't thank you enough. So if you're watching this show as a replay, please put the hashtag replay in there and share the video. Let this information get out to everybody that you know, because it's really amazing. We're going to hear tonight from an incredible entrepreneur that has some excellent words of advice and insight and inspiration about just being successful, like how to rise above where you currently are. And don't we all want that, right? I think we do. And so right now, if you're listening live, go ahead, ping your friends, let them know that we are here, because they need to hear this information, okay? And I'm just so excited that we have this guest tonight. He's really amazing. But before we get started, I want to bring on somebody who has her own following and is a fan of Dunham Business Radio, but also she has her own fan base that follows her around. So welcome. She's been here many times. Welcome back to the show, Roshini from India. Welcome back.
Hi, Lori. Thank you so much. I'm always excited to come here.
I love it that you're part of the team.
Thank you, Lori. Thank you for letting me in.
Yeah. So, you know, for those who don't know you, because our numbers have increased amazingly, so they're probably wondering, India, what in the world, right?
That is so good. The numbers that have increased are so commendable, Lori. I'm really appreciating your hard work and the kind of efforts you're putting in. It's really appreciable. And the way you're taking everybody together and the way you're moving it forward, it's really amazing. I mean, you're inspiring so many of us.
Well, you know, I can't do it without my audience, and I truly am grateful for everything that, you know, they do to help support and push the videos out and connect and like our page on Facebook and all of that. I mean, I truly, I can't do it without them, and I wouldn't do it without them. There's no show without them.
There's one thing I would like to tell everybody is, like, you know, when you see Lori, as I've been seeing her so closely, you know, she has this so much of positivity in her, and she's always ready to take things up. Never give up kind of attitude. And I really appreciate that about her. So that's the reason that, you know, why you won an award and why you're here and why people are coming onto your show is just because you're pulling them. That's the kind of positivity you really resonate.
Thank you so much. That was not scripted, and yeah, that was not solicited. Thank you.
Not at all. Not at all. It's coming from my heart.
Oh, yeah. Thank you so much. That was totally unexpected. I'm blushing.
Come on, because you're putting that much of efforts, and you know, and it needs to be appreciated. We all need, you know, appreciation. It's not just to flatter, but to truly let person know the hard work that you're doing. It's worth it.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And, you know, I have an amazing team with me too. You know, in this past summer, we launched International Summer, invited young folks from around the world to join me as a co-host on various shows. And Roshini was one of the top 5 that I reached out to. And she did such a great job. She's jumping in and doing all kinds of international shows that I just decided to offer her an opportunity to be our international host on a permanent basis. So she was gracious enough to accept.
Yes, thank you so much. It's the opportunity what you've given me has actually helped me to enhance a lot of, knowledge and the kind of work people are doing. So I should be thanking you again.
It's a mutual thing. But for everybody who is new, welcome. We're so glad you're part of the Dunham Business Radio family. Get plugged in wherever we have a platform. And if you're not sure where we are or what to do, just send us an email. DunhamBusinessRadio@gmail.com. We'll direct you in the right spot. But
right.
Roshini, for everybody who is new, fill them in. What do you do? And you're over there in India, so let everybody know more about you.
Okay, so my name is Roshini and I'm from India, Maharashtra. So Maharashtra is the state, and I live in Nasik city. And I'm a lean manufacturing consultant. I'm empaneled under Government of India. Since past 7 years, me and my dad, we've been having our own consultancy firm and been working on pan-India level with all the manufacturing units. So mostly all the tier 2s of Mahindra and Godrej, which are like quite known brands over here. And plus I'm a Miss India finalist. So I'm now more busy prepping for that. And when I win in Laurie's language, I'll be coming to Miami to represent India.
That's right. I made her a promise that when she wins, I'm going to go to Miami and I'm going to take her to Chipotle.
Yes. Oh my God, I'm missing it since last 9 years.
They don't have Chipotle in India, and that was your favorite place when you were here in America, right?
Yes, my favorite place. And the veg burrito bowl, I'll never forget that.
It'd be really great, Roshini, is we reach out to the CEO of Chipotle, have him come on and talk to us.
Oh my God. I'll request him to please open a branch in India because they are not allowing it. I even checked, I Googled that. I checked it. If they can try to get into India, I would like to really take their franchisee and everything. I was ready for it and get in the investors and everything was fine. And I was like, they saw they're not interested. I mean, they don't want to. I mean, instead of using the word interested, they don't want to. So that was disheartening.
I think the interview with them would be so much better than just a burrito.
I'll convince them to come to India and open at least at one place in India.
Well, I'm really excited about today's guest. This is going to be so much fun. Yes. Usually when you talk about insurance, it's not a lot of fun, but man, talking to Thomas Pickard is a great day. We have had such a great pre-interview. He's got me cracking up. So where, talking about insurance normally isn't fun. That's not the case here today, right? We have a saying around here, if it's not fun, you're doing it wrong, right? If you're not having fun, you're doing it wrong. So we're doing it right today.
Yes.
But let's jump in, okay? Are you ready? Roshini, are you ready?
Oh yes, I'm ready. I'm sorry. I thought you were asking Thomas. That's why I was just looking at him.
No, I'm talking to you.
Yeah. I'm ready. I'm in for it.
Awesome. Okay, well, here we go. Thomas Pickard is our guest tonight. He's from McKinney, Texas. In September of 2019, he opened his own farmers insurance agency. And within a year, he became the #1 agency in the South Central District. And that includes Texas, Oklahoma, and Arkansas. This has led him to be awarded the Triple Crown, which is a prestigious award within the farmer's family. Their success comes from placing customers as first priority and customizing their specific insurance needs with solid farmers insurance products. Please help me welcome to the show, Thomas Pickard. Welcome, sir. How are you?
Hey, good. Thank you for having me.
Hey, I'm so glad you're here.
Yeah, me too. Glad to be here.
All right. Well, great. Well, I first want to ask you, what is the Triple Crown? What is that all about?
So the Triple Crown Award is, so there's a certain number of personal lines policies like home and auto, and then a certain number of commercial and life policies that if you hit that certain number, you get this Triple Crown Award. You can get it every quarter. So we were actually the first agency to receive it in my district, which is about 48 agents in the 11 years that the district manager has been a district manager with farmers. So that was pretty cool for us. And recently we actually were just named the #1 agency for the Masters promotion for personal lines year-over-year growth. versus like the baseline. They give you like a baseline amount. We were number one in all three of those states, or out of all those states. So
That's amazing.
We're really excited.
Wow.
And that's really awesome.
Nice.
I mean, being in business for just around a year, I mean, that's a huge achievement, huge accomplishment. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
So let's just jump in a little bit further, dig a little deeper, and tell everybody, who is Thomas Pickard, and where do you? I know you come from McKinney, but who are you? Why insurance?
Okay, so my background is in retail management. I was a manager for a large retailer for a number of years, and about 2 years ago, my father was diagnosed with leukemia, and about 2 days after he was diagnosed, he passed away.
I'm so sorry.
So we had very short notice. Yeah, it was pretty hard, but kind of made me rethink my life. I was working 12, 13, 14-hour days and would get home. I'd be so tired that I'd pass out on the recliner, and I just wake up and do it all over again. So he was only 62. I just turned 31. So kind of made me rethink, I've got 2 small boys. I don't want to be doing this for the rest of my life. So, just started kind of thinking about it and praying about it. And my wife actually worked for another retailer, and her store manager knew a guy that was in retail, and he had just left to open an insurance office. And so I was like, hey, let me reach out to him, see what he's doing, see if this is, worth looking into. And turns out it's the best decision I've ever made in my life. So
what about the agency when you contacted him? What was appealing to you?
A lot of it really. First of all, insurance, if you think about it, is really pandemic proof, because we've worked from home for the past couple months, but we never really stopped. We actually our district led the entire company in premium growth for, I think it was April and May, the 2 months that we were working from home, and we led our district in the premium growth. So, if you think about it, we led the entire company in premium growth, and all we did was start working from home. And so, it's pretty much pandemic proof. And as you can see, a lot of people are losing their jobs right now. And for us to not have to worry about that, we're actually able to get more people on the phone and help them with their insurance and, offer them life insurance, because nobody's really certain of anything at this point. So it's really made it easier for us to reach people and help them, so they can, by the time they get back on their feet, they're covered on everything. So.
Yeah. And so prior to the pandemic, what else about opening an agency had benefits for you?
So it's kind of funny. I actually had like a 5-year plan. I was just planning on being like a agent for another, or producer for another agent, writing business for them, that kind of thing. And, with my management background, when I was hired, I was basically told I was overqualified for that position. I was like, yeah, I know, but, I can see that there's a future in this, and, this is what I want to do. So they hired me on. Within the first month, I just had that attitude, like, I cannot fail. I'm not going to fail. I'm going to be number one. And I pretty much had that ever since. And within the first month selling for that agent, I was his top agent, blew everybody else out of the water. And I had no insurance experience whatsoever. It was just that ability to, I think the retail management, a lot of it that, it was a lot of diffusing situations and, talking to people, getting people to do things that they might not want to do. Because believe it or not, people, that have jobs don't want to do parts of that job. Sometimes it happens. But, I was really good about being able to get the support of my team and getting people to want to work for me and do things for me, to accomplish a goal. As opposed to, I've had bosses that are like, do it or you're fired kind of thing. I've found that leading that way is never productive ever. So I really like to motivate and, if you can get people to want to work for you, regardless of if they're getting paid or not kind of thing, like if they will have your back no matter what, then, you've built a good team. And that's, I like to build a team that is loyal and, you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours kind of thing. I guess not really, but, somebody that people can look up to, and I like to inspire people in that way. So.
So when you're looking at
So I had,
agent,
sorry, I'm getting sidetracked here. I get excited every time I tell my story, but yeah, so I had a 5-year plan, and like I said, I was the top agent, and they had an office manager or sales coach, whatever you want to call them, that would do like monthly one-on-ones with everybody just to evaluate, where they're at, and answer questions they have, give them some advice, that kind of thing. So I had one of those, and after we were done, he pretty much said, "Hey, you're doing great." That's pretty much it. And he was like, "Do you have any questions for me?" I was like, "Hey, what can I do to get prepared to open an office, sometime in the future, 3 to 5 years?" And he was like, "Why are you waiting that long? Like, what's the holdup?" So he was like, "Just go talk to the agency owner and pick his brain a little bit." And I walked in the office and was like, "Hey, I'm thinking about opening my own agency someday. What do you think?" He was like, "Well, what about," and he started naming off cities. I was like, wait, hold up. Like, right now? What are you talking about? And yeah, so it was just kind of like, it happened really quick, but it was great. I know it was the right time. So
Awesome.
Yeah.
With everybody that has lost their jobs or out of work, they're kind of struggling, they're not sure what their next step might be. If someone's interested in being an agent for you, for example, what are some characteristics or traits that would be your ideal agent?
So somebody that's coachable definitely is one of the most important things. If you can't learn, if you think that you're too good to learn, then I can't work with you. In fact, most employers probably won't be able to work with you until you change that mindset. Nobody knows everything. I learn new things every day. You're never too good to learn. And the second you stop learning is the second you start falling off. There's always something new to learn. There's always somebody out there that's doing it a different way. Might not be better. If it is better, the first thing I did when I got into this office was I found out who number one was. I called them and asked them what they were doing. And I didn't mimic exactly what they were doing, but I took a lot of their best practices and kind of implemented them with my current, procedures, that kind of thing, and stuff that I got from my old agency that they were doing right, that kind of thing, kind of blended it all together and created my own process. And now we're number one, and that number one when I started is number two. But we all work together as a team. But yeah, it's nice to cross that off my list. One of the first things that I did was I wrote beat so-and-so on a monthly basis on my goals board. And now, I don't even have to, that's been crossed off, and we're, leaving them in the dust kind of thing. So
that's amazing.
Sorry, I'm very competitive.
I want to highlight 2 things that you said that are just so impactful. So I want to talk to the audience for a second. If you didn't catch what he just said, I want you to get a piece of paper and write this down. He did 2 things. First, when he wanted to know how to set up shop, where did he go? He went and looked at the number 1 producer and asked them their best practices. He did a best practice hack, right? He wrote down the best practices from every number 1 producer he could find that would be willing to share their data, share their process with him. And he didn't copy them, but he formulated his own process that could put him in a place of success. And the second thing that he did is that he wrote down his goals. I don't know, there's been so many shows we've done where we've encouraged you, get a piece of paper and a pencil and write down your goals. Why? Because when you write them down, you are actually making an impact and you're bringing them forward for your own life. So Thomas did that. He did a best practice hack. He wrote down his goals, and now he's number 1, and he crossed off that goal. So Thomas, what's your next big goal? You conquered your competition.
Well, that's just from this district. There's still, there's a lot of great agents out there that, I don't really know their numbers. Like I said, we're number 1, but that's just in our territory. So I'm going to start looking at other territories and, find out who the best person in the company is and, mimic their, well, not mimic, but, call them, find out what they're doing, that kind of thing. But, ultimately what I've found is if you go into business looking to make money and that's your sole desire, you're not going to be successful. businesses are created to fill a need for somebody. And if you're not focusing on helping people first and foremost, you're not going to be successful. You might have a little bit of success at first, but it's always going to come back to bite you. Like, I do a lot of things different than most agents. I actually have our phone system reroute directly to my cell phone after hours. It doesn't go to a 1-800 number. If they call me after hours, I'm going to help them. And that's something that I've done to set myself apart. There's hundreds and thousands of insurance agencies out there. If you're all doing the exact same thing as everybody else, then where are you different? What makes you better than the other person? So you got to set yourself apart if you want to be, if you want that success to last and just keep coming. Because I mean, all these people that we help and they love us, they tell their friends, they tell their family. Word of mouth spreads like wildfire. Yeah. And honestly, that's, set yourself apart and focus on what you can do to make the world a better place and help other people out, and the money will come with it.
Gosh, that's so powerful. What an inspiration.
Seriously.
If somebody was starting their own agency or even their own business, and they wanted to find out more about your methodology because you are number one, how would you approach that? Would you be willing to share what you've learned?
Oh, yeah. I have people ask me all the time. In fact, I just got a message from a guy that I went to class with in California for the training a few months back that, all these people are seeing our name at the top of these lists, and they're calling me like, oh, hey, that's the guy I went to class with. Apparently he's doing really good. What's he doing? And so they're all contacting me. We had a guy in here that has been an agent for about 15 years that came in and just sat in our office for half a day seeing what we do. I get that all the time. And that's one of the reasons I like to make sure that, I want to be number one so I can help other people do better. Nobody wants to hear from number two, number three, last place. If you want to be average, then go to an average agent and ask them what they're doing. But if you want to be exceptional, then go to the person that's, killing it and find out what they're doing. And that's why I like being number one, so I can help other people, because it gives me that clout, I guess you could say, to be able to talk to people about what to do and stuff like that. I like to be able to help people, and being number one just kind of empowers me to be able to do that.
Wow. I've heard that like years ago in sales teams, like if you want to succeed at being a salesperson, right? This was, I don't know what company it was in, but I think it was like just a generalized sales topic or conversation. But basically they're saying, if you're stuck in your sales and you've hit a plateau, ask yourself, have you ever had lunch with the number one producer in your group? In just your small little team, there's always a winner. There's always a number one, like car sales or whatever. They have these competitions. Have you ever taken the number one salesperson to lunch or to go have coffee? Have you ever asked them, what are they doing differently, or what are they doing every day, day in, day out, and align that with them and just see if you can kind of mirror what they're doing to find success. Is that what your internal team does sometimes too? Yeah.
Like I said, we get people that call us asking what we're doing all the time. But something as far as like my team, like you talking about, if they get a call from somebody asking what we're doing, that kind of thing, if they're doing the same thing.
Well, just within your own house of agents, how many agents are under you right now in your agent?
So my office, I have 6 right now, but pretty soon I'll have about 8. I'm hiring a couple more. And the cool thing about I actually just had, Farmers has a program called the Protege Program. Basically, it's for up-and-coming agency owners to get some, learning experience in the systems and the company, that kind of thing, before they actually jump out there on their own. So I actually just had one graduate. He opens on August 1st. And now that we've had that one graduate, I've got another one that I put in that program, and our district has sent us like 2 more people to be in that program. Because they know that we're just going to start, spitting out rock star agents. And that's what I want to do. I want to be, I don't know how to put it, but I want to be the agency that is known for creating amazing talent and the future agents in the business, that kind of thing. And
so you're kind of like the trainer.
So they're just sending them. I actually had somebody in here earlier today that I interviewed and just submitted his background check that is going to come on as a protege agent. So they're just sending them to me now. I don't even have to go out and look for people anymore. It's pretty nice.
That's pretty awesome. So you're like the agent training center.
Basically, all in one.
That's awesome. Great. That's really awesome. Roshini, do you have anything you want to ask?
I have a question over here. Probably this might be a very basic question, but what I have observed in India when it comes to, if the agents go for asking for either a life insurance or a health insurance, everybody gives a very second priority to it. It's like, oh, if I have the money, I will invest. If not, maybe never mind, nothing's going to happen to me. God will take care. These are the kind of statements we get to hear. Because why am I saying this is actually, this was when I was in my school. My mom was a insurance agent actually. So that's where she faced these things, and where people have always given like a second priority to it. It was like, if it's possible, I'm going to do it. So do you face the same issues there, or it's like people have the importance for
it? Yeah. I mean, nobody ever thinks they're going to die. I mean, that's point blank. Everybody thinks they're going to live forever until they get some bad news, that kind of thing. My dad actually passed without life insurance. Like I said, there was like 2 days notice. Luckily, my parents did a lot of, they were very frugal and saved up a lot. So they had, enough set aside to where my mom was okay. And my mom actually works in my agency. I brought her on board. She does payroll, HR stuff. She had that experience, and I, as a way to kind of take care of her after my dad's passing, I brought her on board. And she loves it here. But life insurance, I mean, it's always, it's an easy conversation, but it's not at the same time, because nobody wants to think about what is going to happen after they're gone, because they don't want to think about being gone. And, but when you really explain, like, do you want to leave your loved ones with a $20,000 burial expense? Well, no. Okay, then let's talk about life insurance. Like, what's the holdup? The older you get, the more expensive it gets, and the harder it is to get approved for stuff. So just get it now. Get it for your kids. Like, it's so cheap for children. And if they're young, there's actually a lot more options that you can get. There's actually policies that they can get when they're really young, and then when they're like 16 and ready to buy a car, they can pull money out of it, use it to buy a car, and then they still have that life coverage. Like, you don't have to pay that back. It's like a secret bank account. There's a lot of options, but the older you get, the less options you have. So
I agree.
So let's talk about your agency in particular. What lines of insurance do you actually offer?
Everything except for health insurance. Literally everything. Dune buggies, even. Like, health insurance is literally the only thing that we don't do.
So let's run it down. Home, auto.
Home, auto, life insurance, commercial, recreational vehicles like ATVs, motorcycles, even mopeds. Yeah, and those policies are really cheap if you have one, by the way. Renters policies, landlord policies for properties that you rent out to others, umbrella policies for extra liability coverage. You name it, we pretty much do it, except for health insurance.
So let's talk about business insurance. We are a business show. So let's talk about business insurance. What is it, and what are some typical things that somebody running a business can expect from having that? Like, what kind of protection would they expect?
Well, it kind of depends on what kind of business you have. Like, if you're a contractor, you're going to want like liability coverage. But we also offer what's called a business owner policy, which most of the time comes with liability coverage, with optional like commercial auto policy coverage, with coverage for like your tools and like receipt protection, like if money gets stolen, that kind of thing, and identity fraud protection, a bunch of extra coverages like that. So Farmers actually like blends all of those together, like everything a business owner might need that they can get from here and here and here and here. They kind of put it into one. That being said, Farmers is a little, they're a little particular on what they want to accept as far as like the business risk. So like general contractors, we can't write general liability for, but Farmers has a relationship with a brokerage company called Craft Lake, and we can actually pretty much write any type of commercial policy through them as well. So if you have a weird type of business that Farmers doesn't like one particular, like I have a friend that's an eye doctor, and we can write everything for him except for the professional liability coverage. So I can actually offer that through Craft Lake. So pretty much if there's an exposure that Farmers doesn't like, that doesn't necessarily mean that we won't be able to write something for you. In fact, I just wrote a policy for a guy that just wanted coverage for vacant land. He doesn't do anything on it. He just invested in it and wanted some coverage for it. And I was able to find him a policy or a company that would write it for him. So pretty much anything.
You know, the surge right now because of the stay at home stay in place. What am I trying to say? Stay in place orders. You know, a lot of people starting online businesses and being an online entrepreneur. Do your business policies cover those types of businesses too, such as loss of sales if needed or things like that?
Yep. Yeah, there's certain things. I mean, there's of course certain rules and stuff like that. But like if your business is shut down because of I don't want to go into specific like civil commotion, stuff like that. Like if it's a government thing where they have to shut down an area, then Farmers policies will pay you up to like 12 months of your salary kind of thing. So there's certain stipulations just like with any kind of insurance, but there is coverage for that. Yeah. So we'd have to go into the details on specific policies and that kind of thing. But yeah, Farmers does have a lot of optional coverages that we can add on that most companies don't even offer. So
that's really great. Yeah. So if you're a business owner, you know, you want that protection because you just never know what's going to happen. And if you lose your revenue, you lose your sales, or you lose your opportunity to reach out to your customers, that impacts your bottom line. And so insurance can help with that. So, so one of the terms that I've heard is captive versus non-captive. Which are you and what is the difference?
So captive basically means that you are with one company or one like group of companies. Like I'm with Farmers Insurance Group. Farmers owns a company called Bristol West, which is a non-standard auto company. Foremost, which is a specialty like recreational vehicles, mobile homes, stuff like that. They do all that type of stuff. So I'm part of the Farmers Insurance Group. So I'm a captive agent with Farmers. Non-captive or brokers or independent agents, it's just another way to phrase that. They can basically sell for different companies. They have binding authority with different companies like Progressive will do that. Farmers actually, or Foremost actually can be sold by brokers to some extent. So they have a variety of companies that they can write through. I prefer being captive because Farmers is a really great company. They started in 1928, and during the Great Depression, they actually paid out claims in cash, where most companies were writing IOUs. So they have a very long history of taking care of their customers. I really appreciated that when I learned about that. And so I really like being captive, especially with Farmers, because I get to tell people about how great, you know, the claim satisfaction rate is for Farmers and how good of a company. I mean, I get lawyers that are calling to help their mother with their insurance stuff saying nobody else pays out claims, get Farmers. They're the only ones that pay out any claims. Like at least once a week, we get a lawyer calling with their mom on the phone with us. It's crazy. And, you know, they see that claims side of things, like the litigation part of it. And just to hear people say that, it's like confirming that I made the right choice with Farmers. But yeah, that's why I prefer being captive versus independent, because with independent, you kind of shop price, but they don't really care about anything on the back end they don't deal with the claims. They sell the policy and they move on. I don't like that. I like taking care of people. So
yeah,
it's a little more expensive sometimes, but you know, you get to sell the value of having the company. I mean, if you buy a Lexus or, you know, a Ford Focus, you're buying something that's going to get you from point A to point B, but which one is better? You know, like, I don't know. That's just my opinion, I guess. But to me, you don't really know about an insurance company until you have to file a claim. And then that's when you find out really how they operate. And Farmers is a really great company on that front. So.
Yeah. And so you touched on all the things that I was just about to ask you. So that's cool. We're in synergy here. So on the list of types of insurance that you offer, you know, one of them was umbrella policy. And I thought, why would we want to insure our umbrella? I don't get it.
Yeah, so an umbrella policy is it's basically just a additional liability policy. It gives you well, you can change the amounts, but at least like $1 million extra in liability coverage. So like if somebody decides to sue you for an auto accident and it's a pretty bad accident and there was a lot of people involved, then you have liability coverage on your auto policy. But I mean, everybody gets paid when somebody sues somebody. The lawyers are expensive. You got court fees. You got all that kind of stuff. So that just gives you an extra amount of liability coverage to help pay for that kind of stuff. So,
so there's a lot of competition out there. Agents who sell auto insurance. I mean, they don't necessarily consider that to be the longevity of their income, because people will jump for 10 cents, right? They'll go from one agency to another. So what are some things that people are looking for, just let's say auto insurance to begin with, that they should look for in the policy that maybe could help them stay long-term with farmers?
Yeah, I mean, something that we really sell here is we have to sell value, because like I said, Farmers is not the cheapest company, but our policies have a lot of stuff that other policies don't, a lot of optional coverages that we can add, especially when you get to like homeowners policies. Our homeowner policies are HO5 or all risk versus most other companies out there are HO3, which are named perils. So the difference between the two, basically what it boils down to is Farmers is more like they're not going to cause a big issue most of the time. They're just going to pay out claims, and they do it real quick. Like, they are very helpful. I've actually had to file a claim where my son flooded my house, and I was with Farmers at the time. This is before I knew anything about insurance, and I actually knew somebody that wrote us a policy with Farmers. I was like really sick one day, and I woke up, stepped out of my bed into like 4 inches of water. My son literally did the Home Alone thing where they plug the sink drain and just turn on the water. And yeah, and Farmers came out real quick. They got everything taken care of really fast. This is, like I said, before I knew anything about insurance. I ended up getting all new tile, all new carpet. They put us up in a hotel for, I think it was about a month and a half, something like that. I don't remember having to pay like hardly anything out of pocket. So, I mean, it's just a really great company on that front. But yeah, as far as like selling the value, there's a lot of value in convenience. Like if you call a 1-800 number and you have to talk to a robot, I had to deal with that for trying to get some documents for somebody a little while ago. I just about threw my phone across the room because I was so tired of trying to get this robot to understand what I was saying. You don't have to deal with that at my agency. You go straight to my cell phone after hours. Selling that value of convenience. I mean, if you're sitting on the phone for 30 minutes, that's 30 minutes of your life you're never going to get back. So, I mean, we really sell the value in that, and that's a priceless commodity. You can't really put a price on convenience. So, I mean, a lot of people, yeah, they'll switch for 10 cents, but if you can really build that value and that relationship where they can call you anytime and you answer the phone and you call them by their name, they're not hey, what's your name? What's your date of birth? What's your social security number? All that kind of stuff. If you're not doing that, you're talking to somebody like they're an old buddy or they're a friend or family. And that kind of stuff will really, I mean, people love that. They don't like to be
making them comfortable.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what we try to do different than most other agencies. We're not call center robots. Nobody likes talking to robots. I want to talk to a real person. I want to talk to somebody trying to sell me something. I want to make the decision to buy it. So, I mean, I understand how people work and how people think, and I just do it different. That's it, basically.
Well, I mean, that's why you're successful, right? Because you're doing it different than everybody else.
That's what the thing I realized from his whole conversation is he's giving that kind of personal touch, which is very important.
Yeah.
Because when you just go to any company and it's like, okay, my manager will talk to you. Like, no, I want the attention. Please talk to me.
Yep.
Please talk to me.
That's exactly right.
And everybody feels that, be it you, be it me. Even if we go somewhere else, I want somebody to talk to me directly. So, so it comes in every
People
business.
don't like feeling like they're not important. And
exactly.
we treat our customers like their family. Like everybody is important. everybody, I mean, I just had somebody trying to, they called and said, hey, I'm going to switch companies. It's a little bit cheaper. So I actually did the work for them. I called their other company, got all the documents, found out what the difference was. And they were like, I'm so sorry that I tried to do this. It was just a quick decision. I didn't mean to do it. I realized I made a mistake. Can we get my policy reinstated? Of course. Be glad to have you back. You know, I don't mind doing that for people because people do that. I mean, people look at the price, and most other companies, they don't educate the customers on what their coverage does for them. They don't do any of that stuff. And it's funny because I'll ask these other, you know, other people that we're working with, like what company they're with now. Oh, I don't even remember the name. Oh, okay. Not very memorable then. I mean, so that's just, we like to set ourselves apart. So
how much ever we go advanced technologically, at the end of the personal touch will never get outdated. That's what
absolutely.
I have realized in my business too.
Nobody will ever like talking to a robot.
Never.
I don't care if it's 2037. Nobody's ever going to like talking to a robot. They want to talk to real people.
They may not like it, but you know, they're going to have to at some point.
Eventually maybe, but yeah. There's still going to be people though. It's all about people. People are going to be here, you know? Yeah. Absolutely.
So what would you recommend to a person who's looking at auto insurance? What are some things they should keep in mind? Underinsured, uninsured, some other limits and liabilities outside of the state limits. Why not go with the state limits versus some of these other upgrades and whatnot? Talk about some of that.
Yeah. So state minimum coverage, I mean, it's state minimum coverage. I mean, Texas has a higher state minimum limit than most other states because Texas is the #1 catastrophe state in the nation. We get everything: hail, tornadoes, even earthquakes. It's a little bit higher for the liability coverage because there's so many different exposures. And you know, people drive crazy in Texas. If you're not from here, you don't know how to drive in Texas. And yeah, so I mean, that's why the limits are a little bit higher. But even though they're higher than most other states, I mean, $25,000 for property damage. Where are you going to find a car that's less than $25,000? That if you get a new car, it's going to be at least that. Like, it doesn't matter what type of car. If you get a bare basic car, you're still probably around 20. You know, and that's with none of the bells and whistles. I mean, you hit a Tesla, that car is about $80,000 to $100,000. Your $25,000 property damage coverage ain't going to do nothing for that. It's going to replace a side mirror on that car. You know what I mean? So that's what and you know, that doesn't even bring up like my sister actually, she dropped her phone, I think, in the floorboard and caused a 4-car pileup. And each one of those cars was about $25,000. If my parents didn't have $100,000 in coverage for property damage, they would have had so many bills that would have just kept coming to them for all the extra expense. And so, I mean, $25,000, that only, you know, if you hit hit a car that hits a car that hits a car, and you're responsible for every single one of those cars, you know, property damage, and you have $25,000, you're not even close to being able to pay anywhere near that amount. So that's what we like to educate people on, why the state minimum coverages are not even close to what they need for anybody. I don't care if you're not making very much money. No, when you get in an accident, nobody says, oh, I'm paying too much for my insurance. They say, how much is my insurance going to pay, and are they going to cover this?
Yeah.
Ever. I mean, nobody asks about their monthly payment when they get in an accident. You got probably some head injuries because of that accident and that kind of thing. So anyways, but yeah, and then the bodily injury coverage, I mean, to put it in a way that somebody said to me in my district, they said, when you go to the hospital, you spend about $30,000 per day. I mean, just about everybody that looks at you when you walk into a hospital is going to send you a bill at some point. And anybody that's had any emergency room visit knows exactly what I'm talking about. Like, you just get bills, and then a month later you get a bill from somebody else, anesthesiologist, doctor, nurse, everything. Like, $30,000 is not going to do anything, especially if you don't really have good health insurance. Now, you know, if you have really good health insurance, that might be different, but most people don't, especially right now. With the uninsured motorist coverage, 1 in 5 drivers, according to statistics, is uninsured in the state of Texas. And uninsured motorist coverage actually covers you for hit and runs as well. So I always tell people that is the number one most important coverage, in my opinion, that isn't required by the state of Texas. Like, it's not a law. But if you don't have that coverage, then there's a lot of things that can go wrong, and you're going to have a lot of expenses if somebody hits you and drives off, or they don't have enough insurance. There's a lot of good that coverage can do for you. Because, I mean, if you don't have that coverage and you're hit, basically insurance, if you're not able to find fault with another company and get them to pay, then the fault goes on you. And, you know, insurance isn't going to pay if you don't have that coverage. That's why you get that coverage. They offer that coverage so you can pay your premium for it and get covered if that happens to you. But, I mean, that coverage is really important. It's one of the, if somebody calls and says they want to lower their bill or whatever, I will not ever offer to remove that coverage ever. In fact, I'll tell them, I'll say, I'm not removing this coverage because it's not going to do you any good if you don't have it when you're in an accident. We can raise your deductibles. We can look at doing something else. I'm not going to remove that coverage. I don't even give them that option because I'm an advisor. I have a license by the state of Texas to advise people on what they need for their insurance. And I'm not just going to drop something off of their policy that could help them out if they're in a serious accident. I'm not going to do that. I'm here to advise them and help them make the best decision possible. And if that's a bad decision, I know it is, I'm not even going to give them that option ever. So, but yeah. And then we also have other coverages that like the glass deductible buyback coverage. It can make your comprehensive deductible $100 if you have a glass claim. Most windshields can be replaced for like $250. So if you have a $500 or $1,000 deductible, I mean, you can replace it for cheaper on your own than filing a claim. But this coverage, it's like $30, super cheap for like the year. And it makes it, I mean, you can basically like save $900 if you have a $1,000 deductible if it's a glass claim. So it's really good to have. There's a lot of other coverages I could go all day about, but Farmers is, I used to work for another company, like I said, and they were, you know, it was very, like you run through the quote, there wasn't very many optional coverages you can add. Farmers is very good about giving options for everything. Like on home policies, there's even an optional coverage to do replacement cost on a fence. And most of the companies that do replacement cost on everything, they don't tell you this, but they don't even do replacement cost on your fence. Like I said, they don't tell you. I used to work for them. Yeah, Farmers actually offers that. And there's a lot of other stuff that can really benefit you, but they really give the agents an opportunity to be advisors and, you know, talk about the coverages like that. And then they give the customer, you know, the option to buy those optional coverages, that kind of thing. So.
Yeah, I absolutely love the commercials. You know, we insure everything because we've seen everything.
Yeah. Yep.
Awesome. It's awesome because you think about some of the situations, you know, you got the standard stuff, right? But the one-off stuff, I mean, that's, I think, where Farmers is head and shoulders above everybody else because they're like, that happens. That's called life, people, and we cover it, you know?
Yep, exactly.
So what are some of the misconceptions about when somebody says, well, I have full coverage? They think that's everything, but really what is full coverage and what are some things that are truly not included if you don't add them?
So the only thing that full coverage means is that you have a comprehensive and collision deductible that makes it to where you pay a certain amount and then insurance pays the rest. So that is the only thing that full coverage means. That's the only thing involved with that. Uninsured, I can give you full coverage and you could not have uninsured motorist coverage. I mean, so full coverage is kind of, I hate that term because you're not really fully covered. I mean, you can have the state minimum coverage with $250,000 deductibles. I'm just throwing a random number out there, super high number, and still be called full coverage. Like it doesn't make sense, but basically it's just meaning that liability, you're assuming full liability by not having those deductibles. You're not putting insurance on the hook if your car gets damaged by hail or an accident or something like that. You're assuming full responsibility, but you still have to have by law the state minimum coverage for insurance. But it's really only paying the other person if you hit them, that kind of thing. But as far as getting your own stuff fixed or getting your own, like if there's a hailstorm, which happens all the time, this is Texas, you're not going to have any coverage to fix your car. You're going to have to pay for it on your own. So full coverage just basically means that you're putting insurance on the hook for a little bit of or most of the expense for any damages to your vehicle, as opposed to assuming full liability to the damages to your vehicle, that kind of thing.
Well, this is an amazing conversation, because we're just covering all of the aspects of insurance that, we're asking the questions and having a conversation about things that people are thinking about anyway, right? So thank you, Thomas, for doing all this. I also want to give you a chance, if you have not yet pinged your friends, please have them join the conversation, because this is really important stuff. And I know that Thomas is here in DFW, here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, but you know what? Insurance is a topic that every human needs to understand. Whether you're here in DFW or you're somewhere else in the world, there's insurance, and you've got to understand what it is and how to get it, how to protect your family. And we're having a very interesting conversation with our guest, Thomas Pickard. He is with Farmers Insurance, and although he is here local to the Dallas-Fort Worth area, everything we're talking about regarding insurance is absolutely available through your local agent in your country. Even if insurance is a topic that impacts humanity. Okay, so we're just talking about general scope of insurance is important for you. So Roshini, what kind of things have you picked up from Thomas's conversation so far?
So up to now, at least I'm trying to understand that, like people really need to educate themselves when it comes to insurance, which is actually lacking, and it's still lacking, which is very, maybe I should be saying unfortunate. But, at an early age, yes, I agree, because I can say that openly, yes, my dad has actually made policies for me at a very early age. So that from my 42, he's really literally told me from my 42, I'll get certain amount. And he said that, so that even after my age of 42, if I don't want to do something, you can, probably get into your hobbies, and that money will take care of you. So, the kind of, I'll say that's like a gift that he gave me, and that was a policy, rather policies, I should say. And at the moment I was thinking like, why are we paying so much of money and all? But then he's like, you'll understand its importance when you will be 42. And I agree. So for whatever he just said, like, what Thomas just mentioned, I mean, we all need to have that education. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I think what's important now, Thomas, what I'd like to do is just kind of ask the audience a couple of questions. So just think about this. And I want to put this into perspective. Okay. So think about, are you going to win the lottery? Are you going to inherit a fortune? Are your children absolutely 100% going to support you, always be there, and never put you out? Are you going to keep working forever? Wait, that's a yes question. Are you going to retire? That's a yes question. Are you going to keep working forever? Okay, that's a no question. Will the government always take care of you without any concern whatsoever? And are you going to stay alive forever? I was going for all no's on those, because if the answer is no at any one particular point, guess what? You need life insurance.
Yep.
Thomas, tell everybody why life insurance. Why don't people just, from like the moment they're born, they're dying, right? I mean, literally, the moment we're born, we're on a path to dying. I mean, I know that sounds dark, and I don't mean it to sound dark, but you just don't know. You're not guaranteed another breath, right? So why not buy life insurance the very first day you're born?
Yeah, well, I mean, technically you have to wait 15 days, at least with farmers. But 15 days after you're born, we can write a policy for a kid. Obviously, it would have to be somebody over 18 that got the policy. Anyways, but yeah, when you're super young, that's the best time to get it, because you, like I said, you have more options. The policies that you can get for juveniles, like I said, you can pull cash out. You can do that with some of the adult ones, but those are a lot more expensive. But the ones that you can get for the kids that they can pull cash out of, they're super cheap, and it's like a little bank account. So, I mean, with life insurance, it's not death insurance all the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's kind of funny that it's called life insurance, because most of the time it's because, like when you die, that's when you get paid out, or you don't, but you know what I mean? Anyways, but there's a lot of benefits that you can actually get while you're still alive from life insurance too, that a lot of people don't really know about. So I think there's a misconception about life insurance that you're not really going to ever see it because it doesn't get paid out until you die. But I mean, if you think about all the loved ones you're going to leave behind, those are the people that, do you want to be somebody's headache when you leave, or do you want everything to be taken care of and for them to be able to remember you, for everything that you did while you were still alive, basically. I know I don't want to be remembered as the guy that didn't get life insurance or wasn't prepared for my own death and left my family in a terrible spot. I don't want to be that guy. I want to leave a strong legacy for my family and, where they can be well off when I'm gone. And I mean, nobody plans on, dying. Well, nobody plans on dying. I just leave it at that. I mean, you can walk out your front door and get
I can share an instance
by a
after
meteor.
this.
You never really know. I mean, there's different statistics and everything, but I mean, people die driving to work every day, every single day. I mean, we're not guaranteed another second. So you got to plan for it, and you got to plan for it now. I mean, the longer you wait, the more expensive it's going to be for you. If you're just waiting for it to get cheaper, unless you have a time machine, I mean, obviously you can sell that and make a lot of money probably, but you're not going to be able to go back in time. So you might as well do it now, and because it's not going to get any cheaper, I promise.
Roshini.
Sure. Yeah, so like what he was talking about is also absolutely correct. And, we always talk like, I want to take an insurance because I might just, someday die and then I want an insurance. But I would like to share this instance with you. It was like, it was like 2020, somewhere around 2006 or 7, we had our own manufacturing unit over here in India. And due to some unfortunate situation, we had to close it down because we were ancillaries to one of the another manufacturing unit. And because of that, we went through big time loans. And so you have to actually show that, if you have a house, you have to give something as a guarantee.
Collateral. Yeah.
Yes. So in that case, you won't believe, my dad always believed in having insurance. And when he was young, he bought his own insurance, a lot of insurances. And because of those policies, whatever he had, he could actually show it to the bank, and he got a good amount of loan. So somewhere, I feel it helped us then. And if probably that wouldn't have been there, we wouldn't have been, to an extent, I'll say, wouldn't have been able to come out of a very critical situation. Mm-hmm. So I feel while we were alive, it saved us. I'll say that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's very really smart.
Good. Yeah, yes. I mean, you could use your policy as, like they said, collateral, like an asset, and, put that person or that company that you're trying to get a loan from, whatever, as secondary insured until that debt or that lien is taken care of. So, it's a great way to get through life. So start early, it's all about planning, financial planning, and being smart. Now, some people will say, well, my employer covers me. They give me life insurance up to 1 or 2, 3 times my salary. If my funeral costs are going to be $20,000 and I make $80,000 and they're going to pay my family $250,000, then why do I need an extra policy with you?
Well, when people tell me that, what I usually ask them is, are you planning on dying in the current position that you're in? Because your life insurance policy isn't going to go anywhere with you if you leave that company or you're let go, or in most cases, if you retire, like that doesn't go with you. I mean, there's certain instances where they might work it into the contract if you actually retire from the company, but just putting in your 2 weeks notice and leaving is not retiring. That's not going to go with you. You need a policy that you actually own yourself, or, I mean, it's not going to do anything for you. It's just, yeah, it may look great. People don't really understand the whole getting life insurance through their employer. It's not really yours unless you die in that position that you're in. In most cases is not what's going to happen. I mean, I never planned on dying when I worked for Walmart. I don't plan on dying while I'm working for farmers. But I mean, nobody plans on dying, like I said, so you never really know. I mean, so yeah, it's not really yours. You need something that you actually own, that's going to stay with you no matter what.
Yeah.
So, hey, and real quick, just to piggyback on what Roshini said. So it's actually, we sell a lot of policies for juveniles to grandparents. That's a great gift that a grandparent can give to a grandkid that will stick with them for forever. And then when they turn 18, if they want to keep paying on it, which in most cases, if they're smart enough to get something for their, their kids when they're young, they've taught them the values by the time they're 18 to plan for your future, to invest, to do all that kind of stuff. Like for me, my parents, I ref soccer since I was 11, and my mom made me save up almost every penny. And when I turned 19, I actually was able to put a down payment on the house because I had like $10,000 saved up at 19. Wow. And like, who does that? Like at the time I was like, oh my gosh, I just want to buy an iPod or something like that, but looking back, like, I'm really glad that my mom made me save up that money and taught me the value of saving and not blowing all my cash at once, because I was able to buy a house at 19. Like, who does that? Nobody buys a house at 19 hardly. Like, that was something that I was really proud of. And if my parents wouldn't have taught me the value of saving money, I would have never, I'd probably still be in an apartment. And I play drums. I can't live in an apartment. That's crazy. So yeah, I mean, it's a great thing, even if it's not for you to get for other people, for a grandkid or something like that. It's a really good thing that's going to stick with them their whole life, and just a lot of benefits to it.
Now, it does have to be a family member, right, to yes. buy? So
I believe,
what about
there's different types of, like for businesses and stuff, you can actually buy like a key person life insurance policy. But yeah, in most cases, it's for a relative. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I would say that, if COVID's taught us anything about having insurance through your employer, your employment can go away overnight,
Absolutely.
And so, boy, what a lesson COVID has taught, to get mm-hmm. get that policy going now,
So actually the question is, like, does Farmers offer discounts?
Yes, absolutely. In fact, we offer more discounts than most other companies. So we offer discounts for military, police officers, teachers, engineers. There's something called the affinity discount. It covers a lot of different job occupation type things, all kind of related to people that help. What's a good way to put it? Like doctors, people that are helping other people, police officers, firefighters. So Farmers likes to give discounts to the people that serve our communities, as heroes or people that have served in the past, that kind of thing, retired military, all that kind of stuff. Farmers likes to give discounts for that kind of stuff. In fact, we actually give a military discount, and that's, so I don't want to talk about other companies. So USAA is a great company. Love USAA. They're probably the only other company I can say their customer service is close to Farmers. But what people don't understand is they don't actually give a discount for military, but Farmers does. That's like their target market kind of thing. Like I said, great company, but we actually give a discount for military, retired military, all that kind of stuff. And that's just kind of like their niche market where they kind of target, that kind of thing. So I always tell people who actually appreciates the veterans more, just as a, little gut jab a little bit. But like I said, USA is great, but that's something that we do that other companies don't. Now, some other companies do offer a military discount, but I mean, who offers a discount for engineers? Not very many people. You don't hear that very often. But we actually do. Scientists, people that are helping to make the world a better place, basically. Farmers gives back to them. We also offer discounts for, like bundling home and auto, or life and auto, or, different policies. If you have more than one, you're getting a discount for it somewhere. So that's really good. So a lot of discounts.
That's awesome. This information has been great. Now, Farmers is in almost every state. So if there's someone, listening, and there is, and they want to kind of get involved with Farmers, and they want to see some of the policies, get a quote, what should they do?
You can actually go on Google and just search Farmers Insurance Agent near me, or you can ask Google if you have a, Google Mini or something like that. But yeah, it'll pull up the nearest agent, or it'll pull up the nearest agent in the area, as far as I know.
And so you can get a quote, because each jurisdiction or each region has different requirements. Each state, definitely when it comes to auto insurance, and some states have different rates for home insurance, homeowners insurance, things like that, and renters. And so you want to work with a local agent, but all of the principles we're talking about are actually worldwide. I mean, it's just the concept of insurance, concept of protecting you and your family. So you at least reach out to your local agent. And the one other thing, Thomas, if you've really inspired some people, right? You the top producer, now people are like, wow, I want to come and ask Thomas what to do and how to be the best that I can be. And maybe we've spurred some interest in people being an agent. What's the best way for them to get started, especially with farmers?
Yeah, so definitely reach out to the farmers. There's district offices in every state that we insure, as far as I know. Some of the ones up north, I think, do it a little bit different. They have like sales managers or something for different regions. But anyways, reach out to, you can literally call farmers home office and they can put you in contact with somebody that can get you information on how to have an agency. You can go to farmers.com and I think there's information on there. But yeah, if you want the opportunity, if you see a opportunity with any company, they're just seeking out the information, you'll find it. We have the internet, Google knows everything. You'll be able to find the information pretty quick.
And so locally, people in Dallas, Fort Worth, do you service a particular area of town?
So we actually, and I was going to mention that when you said local, so finding a local agent is fine. But nowadays, like we service the entire state of Texas. I have customers in Galveston, El Paso, all over the state. And people don't really, especially right now, care about going into a brick and mortar building anymore. Right. They really don't. So, you don't necessarily need to find a local agent. If you really want an agent that's going to take care of you, find out who the best in the state is and call them. They will be able to help you.
Okay.
So, you don't necessarily have to be able to walk into a building, because in most cases they're going to have a sign on the door telling you to go away, especially right now.
Yeah, send a text, say, I'm here, let me in.
Right, yeah. So, if this has taught us anything, it's that people don't need or have to be in a physical location in front of people in order to be taken care of. So
when it comes to homeowners insurance, do you require an inspection first to know what you're actually insuring, or is it
Farmers actually sends out an inspector after we write a policy, and if there's anything that we might have gotten wrong on, like the siding or the roof materials or foundation, which in most cases we just search the address on Google, pull it up on Google Maps, and we can see what the house looks like. But farmers will actually send out an inspector to physically walk around the house, make sure everything's good. And in most cases, sometimes if the house is like really bad and it looks really fancy on Google, which doesn't really happen. We've had it like once where the picture was taken in like 2016, and completely different. We've only had like one that actually they came back and said, yeah, we can't write this policy. But yeah, most cases it's just kind of confirming everything and just getting the, feel for if there's any potential damage, like if there's any cracks in the foundation, stuff like that, like a closer look. But they'll send somebody out. It doesn't cost the customer anything.
So I know a lot of people are thinking, with auto insurance, you can cancel anytime, you can jump. We don't recommend it, but you can. So with other policies, are there any policies where you're just locked in for a term for a long time? Like
no, you can actually, insurance is not contractually obligating. Like you can cancel any type of insurance at any time. So if anybody tells you that you're locked in for a certain period of time, they're lying to you. And if you take the time to read the policy documents, you'll be able to see that for yourself. So yeah, there's no contracts with it. You can switch at any time, but once you find the right thing, why would you want to? You know what
Absolutely. Yeah. And some policies are written for like 6 months or a year, just for purposes of record keeping, right? So their billing is easier and things like that, right?
Well, so there's other benefits to like doing a yearly policy versus a 6-month policy, which Farmers offers both. A lot of companies do only 6 months, or or a year. We actually offer both. So the good thing about having a year policy, that's what we kind of try to promote more at my agency, because there's more rate stability for a longer period of time. Like for instance, if there's a statewide increase for whatever reason, because of they do like the claims history past 3 years kind of thing. We get a lot of hailstorms. There's been a lot of tornadoes here past few years. So I mean, the rates can fluctuate. So if there's a rate increase and you just got your policy right before that rate increase, it's going to affect you the next time you renew. So if you have a yearly policy, you don't really have to, be impacted by that rate increase for 12 months versus 6. So it's just a longer period of time where you don't have to worry about your rates changing. So yeah, I think that's better. It does cost a little bit more usually. It's not like a, 6 months times 2 kind of thing, because anybody that tells you, like, if you're getting a 6-month policy and they tell you for the year it's going to be double that, they're lying, because the rate's going to change. It's either going to go up or going to go down or whatever. So yeah, I mean, there's no way to tell, especially in Texas, what's going to happen with the rates and everything. So
yeah. So if you've got questions for Thomas, go ahead, drop them in the comment box, and he's going to be monitoring the box over the next couple of days. So don't worry if the show ends and your question's not answered. He's going to be able to answer and engage with you over the next couple of days. So drop them now, and then he'll be able to get back to you. And if you want a quote from him, Thomas, how can people reach you?
So you can call my cell phone, 214-592-6184. You can reach out to me on Facebook. I'm on LinkedIn. If you want to send me a message, we can connect on there. Send me a postcard. Drop by the office. I mean, if you want to reach me, there's a way. So
you can send a pigeon to smoke
Google,
signals.
Just put Thomas Pickard Farmers Insurance Agency. Put it in Google. It'll pull my number up. Yeah.
What's your office number for during office hours?
469-535-7070. And like I said earlier, that number, if you call after like 6 p.m., will reroute directly to my cell phone. So
awesome. Hey, he's on.
Call me at midnight if you want to, but please don't.
What? Say it again.
Call me at midnight if you really want to, but please don't.
When somebody has, I'm glad you mentioned it, somebody has an emergency situation where they have a policy with you and say, something happens in the middle of the night, they've called 911, but do they call their agent or do they wait till the next business day?
Well, I mean, I've had a guy call me at 11:30 at night. I just happened to still be up, and he was like, "Hey, do I file a claim? This dude hit me and drove off and blah blah blah." So I was able to help him with that at 11:30 at night. Because I mean, if I'm awake, I will answer my phone. But yeah, he really appreciated that. In fact, he brought some like a case of energy drinks to my entire staff. And he lives like in Fort Worth, which is about an hour and a half or so, depending on traffic, could be 2 hours away from my office. And he drove all this way just to do that because he appreciated it so much.
Wow.
Yeah. So, but I mean, you can wait till the next day. There's a 1-800 number that you can get from the app, and it'll send you directly to like a claims advocate, that kind of thing. But it just depends. I mean, there's the tools at your fingertips in the app and everything. But if you really want, my help or whatever filing the claim, I really don't mind helping you. I'd be glad to, that kind of thing. So. Well,
that's fantastic. This information has been amazing. And like I said, put your comments in the box. Yeah. Thomas is going to be monitoring that, and he'll would love to engage with you. So Thomas, we'd like to ask our guests to give our audience a wisdom nugget about something maybe they've learned by being in business, a challenge they've overcome, or a success that they've had outside of winning all the awards and being number one. What's another wisdom nugget you can give to our audience?
So I would say the most important thing to any business that you're starting up, or anything in life really, if you believe that you can do it, you can do it. I mean, we live in a world full of opportunity. If you go into something thinking that, oh, I might be successful, yeah, you're probably not going to be successful. If you go in thinking that you're going to be the best, you do everything possible to make yourself the best. You have the right attitude. You have the right, if you have the right attitude and belief in your head, you're going to do the actions that are going to get you to where you want to be. If you don't, then you're just going to be average, or you're going to fail. And if that's what you want, which that's not what you want, that's how you want to think. But don't be a statistic. Don't be average. Be exceptional. And that's how you do it. It's all about mindset.
That's amazing.
Wow.
Those are words to live by right there. Yeah. Roshini, any last thoughts before we sign off?
Oh my God. You know, like what he just said was one thing what I really appreciated from in the very beginning, you know, when he was talking about to be number one, you know, most of the times we have a lot of self-doubts, and that somewhere pulls us down. And the word you use, the mindset, and you should be confident that, okay, I'm going to be number one, come what may.
Yep.
I feel somewhere we lose that thing. And I've really taken that thing from you today. I'll make sure that
there's some commercials out there, like makeup commercials. They make people feel like they're not good enough without some type of help or something like that.
Sure.
I mean, I don't even have cable anymore. I got tired of watching that crap. You got to believe in yourself. I mean, like I said, America and the world is full of opportunity. You can do anything and be successful as long as you have the right mindset. And I mean, put people first. Find a need, help people, and make that your focus, and everything else will come along with it.
Man, that's two nuggets of wisdom. Oh my goodness!
I could go all day.
because of this kind of push, I'm actually very confident I'm going to win.
Yeah,
that's right.
There you go.
Did we mention earlier, Roshini, about the contest you're in? You're the winner. You're going to be the winner for the 2020 Miss India contest.
Oh, nice.
I'm the finalist at the moment, Thomas. I'm the Miss India finalist 2020.
Awesome.
So yeah, in between I had a lot of doubts because of course I'm I'll be competing with all the models and some theater artists and also the very few people who are coming from the professional, different background, like me being a mechanical engineer, and then there are other doctors, like girls who are doctors. So we all had our own, oh, will I be able to make this? Oh, will I look good? We have our own doubts. So because of it, this kind of, of course, the wisdom nugget which you just gave, I'm like, okay, no, I don't care. I'm going to be winning this. That's it.
Yep. There you go. That's the right mindset to have.
And we fully support you. We are right there with you. We can't wait to see you walk down the runway as the winner.
Thank you.
It's gonna be great. It's gonna be a fabulous day for all of us. We're all cheering for you. So
yes, thank you.
Thomas, thank you so much for stopping by and sharing your wisdom and your inspiration with us. I know that you have really made an impact in the lives of our listeners, and I can't thank you enough for that. Really appreciate you being here.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me.
And Roshini, again, thanks so much. I just love that you're part of the team, and you're here, and I just thank you.
You're welcome, Lori. You're always there.
Well, listen, like I said, Thomas is going to be monitoring the box over the next couple of days. So go ahead and put your comments in. We're at the end of the show, but put your comments in. He's going to be looking at that and would love to engage with you. If you want to quote with him, be sure to give him a call or hit him up Facebook, however you can, to reach out to Thomas Pickard with the Farmers Insurance branch in McKinney, Texas. If you want to be a guest on the show, you want to share your insight, wisdom on your entrepreneurial journey, we would love to have you on the show. Just send us an email to DunhamBusinessRadio@gmail.com. And one final thing, if you have a nonprofit organization or you know of a nonprofit organization that needs to raise funds right now, we have relaunched this book here, Start Your Own Amazon Store Without Getting Hurt. It is available as a digital download, the safest way to fundraise these days. And every book that's downloaded, your organization will receive 20%. So it's our way of just giving back to the nonprofits and helping them do what they do best. So you can go to startamazonstore.com and just download that. Just market that link around the world. It works around the world. You can download it right away. So we really appreciate you. Your support just means so much. And we can't do the show without you, and we won't do it without you. So thank you so much for everything. Please share this video. And if there's anything we can do, just reach out. Let us know. And until next week, everybody, stay on top of the world.
Thanks for listening to the Dunham Business Radio Show. Be sure to follow us at Dunham Business Radio and check out DunhamBusinessRadio.com for more info.
I'm on top of the world, now I'm living, and the good just gets better, keeps it giving. Not even close to the end, it's just beginning. Life is getting lighter while the days are getting brighter. Yeah.